Hello internet people, welcome, and it is me, your least favorite Drag Race content creator, Jer, here to talk about some more of my favorite fashions from a Drag Race season. This weekend we've been talking a lot about Holland's Drag Race. My weekly podcast just dropped talking about the very first season, and I did a little dissection about Holland and the problem with the very first season. So I decided to follow through with doing one of these and talking about my favorite fashions from this particular season. There were a lot of really cool and excellent looks that I loved, that I think about quite a bit, that I think made an impact, I think should have maybe had a bigger impact globally, but did not. So we're gonna get into those, and as always, if your favorite is not on this list, it doesn't mean that it's bad, it just means that it didn't make my top 10. So without further ado, let's jump on in here. We are starting out in the number 10 slot with Envy Peru's Shine Bright Like a Diamond Runway. I will say initially, this is a pretty safe top 10 look because objectively, fashion-wise, this is a really perfect look. The feathers are expensive, this shawl is expensive, she looks like a Vegas showgirl, the beading and the bedazzling is exquisite. She looks extremely luxe and expensive, and in fashion there's one of two ways you can go, either really camp or really high fashion, really expensive looking, right? At least on Drag Race. I don't know if there's a lot of kind of in between that I think really stand out, if that makes sense. And in this particular season, Envy was always going for really expensive looks, and then the very next week would come out in something a little more camp, and that's why I really loved what she did. This look is great. I don't think there's really much to say about it. You have eyeballs and can evaluate it yourself. The buzzword that is floating in my head is elaborate, exquisite, expensive. E-words. She looks great. Moving into the number 9 slot is Janie Jacquet in the evening gown category for the finale ball. The fact that they made them do a ball after a musical was really maniacal, but honestly, I kind of live, laugh, loved. I have a visceral negative response to red, white, and blue. I think it's RuPaul's nationalism that's really been coming out in the last couple years of Drag Race. So going back and looking at these looks, my immediate thought was sort of like, ooh, but the red here is a little more of a burnt orange, the blue is a little more intense, the white is a little more pearlescent. You know, I understand that other countries have the same color flag, so I can't look at it and think too negatively. I think patriotism is great. It's just Ru's nationalism has made me cringe at these colors a smidge. I think Janie looks really beautiful here in these colors. Managing to take the flag and turning it into these long stripes that go down the dress. And if you look at the rest of her ball package, it's a lot of lines and strings like this. And I think it was a smart package in general. I almost included her whole package for this particular category like I did with Jada. Oops, I don't think that's happened yet. Season 12 is cued. Spoiler alert. So Janie, I think, was smart in the ball. I think she looks really beautiful. This looks patriotic. I could see this being at like an inaugural ball. The only thing that's kind of inappropriate for the evening is the long slit that's up the side, but I think that brings it into a drag place. Plus this hair and this dark lip on Janie, she looks beautiful. And I really love this look for her. Then moving into the number 8 slot, we have Setter Jean, who I'm going to be up front, dominates a lot of this top 10 because I really think of all the queens that season, Setter Jean was really bringing fashion and glamour and camp. Evaluating this look in particular, one of my favorite elements of any drag look is when you can incorporate everything and not have it be overwhelming. This look has everything thrown at it, including the kitchen sink. We've got fetish harness wear. We've got a cape, but turned to the side. There is paint splatter. There's a bodysuit. There's aggressive spikes. There's a headpiece. Half the face is covered. Everything that you could possibly throw at this look is represented here, and yet I don't think it looks like a visual assault to my eyeballs. I think overall Sederginne looks really cool and biker and fetish and artistic. Everything blended into one. This look stands out for me because it is so much and yet not too much. So that's why she made the top 10 spot. And I think this eye-catching look is memorable, where a lot of the other ones of that night in this category were not necessarily memorable. Then moving into the number 7 slot is Envy Peru's finale look. This, again, is kind of a safe top 10 look. I don't think this is necessarily the most bombastic fashion look that I've ever seen, but it's really clean and crisp, and like if Yzma was going to a funeral. I love the corsetry here that's opened up, going up into the spikes. I like the gloves. I even like that this is a legging. I really like this sort of Kat Von D hair that she has. Everything looks really clean, crisp, luxe. It's reminiscent of maybe season 3 of Drag Race, going to things that Raja was doing. It's bringing me back to that time. And I think this look, just sort of being smooth for a finale, was smart. It end caps everything that she's done, and I think it looks really appropriate for a finale. Moving into the number 6 slot is Janie Jacquet's finale look. I really like this wine red on Janie. I love the big feathers that are here on the back in the wings. I think she looks like a really high fashion, expensive Victoria's Secret model. I think about those runways quite often, and there's always that one stunning showstopper at the very end. And Janie is the drag version of that. The stoning that is on the bodysuit, which normally I don't love just a bodysuit, but this is an expensive looking bodysuit. There's details on it. You can see these 2 half circles on the side with applique in the middle. There's applique on the sleeves that twirl around it like a snake. This was great for a finale. In the number 5 slot is Sederginne's Who's Your Queen. I think Sederginne is everything to me, and I really loved everything she did during this season, with the exception of one glaring runway, but we'll get to that in just a bit. Doing a Marie Antoinette style outfit for your very first runway ever, and bringing out this large skirt that opens up in the middle to reveal this tea set and this feast with all of these goodies in there was something I don't think I've ever seen on Drag Race up until this point, and I don't even think I've seen anyone do this since then. If anyone remembers a runway that maybe it has gotten lost in the 5,000 runways that have come down, please let me know who it is, because I would love to go look at it and refresh my brain. I don't think this has been done before. Doing a skirt reveal into things inside of it is remarkable, intelligent, reflects a level of television presence and competition presence that not really many of the girls were thinking about. And it's honestly a shame that production went the way that it did on this season, because I think had this been judged by almost any other franchise representative, I think Sederginne would have been in the top week after week after week after week, racking up wins, racking up big points in the Drag Race fashion industry. These people that want to reach out and work with them because their mind is going places that nobody else is. Sederginne is a once in a lifetime type of queen, and I hope that we get to see her in a Versus the World, because she deserves that. And this is just a fashion moment. This corsetry on top of this tulle, like junior-esque skirt, the big poofs on the sleeves, the feather in the hair, all the details near where the curls are. It is just exquisite. Moving into the number 4 slot is Sederginne once again for Ultimate Best Drag. And I put this up here because it's rotten in the best way possible. Sederginne went home during the split runway where she was dressed as a half Miss Piggy, half Kermit, which was wretched and awful and deserved to be thrown into an incinerator because that look was just awful. So her coming back into the finale as the glow up version of that, showing that she doesn't take the show or anything that she does too seriously, and reflecting that in her drag, I'm sure with all of my heart that Sederginne went home that week, got back to her house, called up a designer, or just went through her fabrics and made this in preparation to go back for the finale, because she knew that that would be the automatic recall. The last time we saw her was in that dress, and then thinking, all right, let's see what that look would be if it was blown up. This is really smart, really inventive. I love these bright colors that don't work together yet somehow do. She looks stunning. In the number 3 slot is Chelsea Boy's Miss Holland look. Now, I gotta say initially, this is not the most bombastic look that I could have chosen for top 3, and I could make arguments for this being lower in the list because some yellow organza or chiffon, whatever the see-through fabric is that's the yellow on top of this black fabric, whatever that is not particularly expensive, right? Or exciting of a fabric. There's no detail work here like stoning or shimmer or anything that brings it to a super high fashion place, right? The reason why this is so high up is because of the presentation. The reason why this is up here is because of the storytelling. Everything being swooped to her right, being windblown and being shellacked in place as if she is constantly being wind spun is so crazy and smart and funny. And again, I don't think I've seen anybody do this. Sederginne and Chelsea Boy were taking us to drag places that I truly do not believe anyone has ever done since then. Again, if they have, please point me in their direction because I'd love to look at what they did. And I really love that Chelsea came out with this umbrella that was also wind broken and just spun around the runway as if she was in a hurricane the whole time. It was really great showmanship and storytelling. And again, if this had been a different production team, different host, I think that Chelsea Boy would have gotten at least 2 challenge wins directly because of the runways and the performance in the challenges. But Chelsea Boy was so underlooked, and this is one of the coolest presentational things I've seen on Drag Race probably ever. Then in the number 2 slot is Sederginne's Shine Bright Like a Diamond look. I bring this here because it's high fashion. This is fashion. The big black buttons that are on the waistcoat are really smart. Having them on both sides is intelligent because a lot of times with expensive jackets like this, there will be a functional button that's actually meant to slide into the buttonhole and then one non-functional to create symmetry. Even having the forethought to put that on there was smart. And then this cage was really odd and interesting. It almost, to me, because of the headpiece, it looks like a lamp, like an IKEA lamp installation. And then it has been turned into a coat dress. I love the details of even, you can see stoning on the tights. The shoes are really smart. The nails are beautiful. The makeup is immaculate. She looks like if Glenn Close was slaying. And I think more than anything, the presentation really sold it for me, having the bedazzled baby carriage that spit pee at her while she was walking down the runway was also really smart and fun and camp. And I love that Sederginne manages to take both of those avenues that I talked about earlier, glamour, high fashion, and camp, and intersecting those together to give us this really flawless package that should have been better received. Then finally in the number 1 slot is Chelsea Boy's Who's Your Queen look, bringing the Alien franchise to the runway. We did not see an Alien look as far as I'm aware of the Alien franchise in particular. There, I think, was someone who did a really cool Alien look in España, maybe season 1 or 2. I remember watching the runways for those maybe a year or 2 ago. So we didn't see an Alien look like this for a very long time when La Grande Dame came out in UK versus the World 2. This version of the Alien Queen was a little more glamour than what Le Grand Dame did. Le Grand Dame took it to a camp horror place, a little more a Dragula scene, where this is maybe more appropriate for the Drag Race franchise. Not that Le Grand Dame's wasn't, but this might be a little more in line with things that you would see from other queens, right? The latex is really brilliant. I love the way that it looks drippy and wet without having to directly spit on herself to do that. The spikes on the back that come up, it evokes Alien Queen. You can see the crest of the head here represented in the entire body. That's really smart. This should have been the winning look of the week, and it is a crime to me that Chelsea Boy did not win this challenge. This should have been her very first one in the competition, and I think Chelsea Boy looks stunning. Chelsea Boy looks so cool, and I will go to my grave feeling like Chelsea Boy was robbed for this challenge. And with that, that has been my top 10 favorite looks from Drag Race Holland. Let me know what some of your favorite looks were in the comments below. And once again, if your favorite was not here, that doesn't mean I thought it sucked. It just did not make my top 10. Thank you for watching, and I will see you on the flip. Hey, thank you so much for watching. If you liked the video, make sure to click that like button. And if you want to see more, hit subscribe. Goodbye.